Hello, good people. How are you? My name is Mike. This channel is Health and Wealth. Thank you so much for joining me today on another episode of Health and Wealth Talk on high yield, distributing, income paying ETFs. Today's video is about MSTY, MSTY, the rise and the fall of MSTY. How is it doing right now? What is the sentiment out there? How are you feeling about it? Let's talk about it all here. Let's talk about how I'm feeling about it. Let's go over it today. Thank you so much for joining me, becoming a subscriber. We are so close to 10,000 of you. Oof, I can feel it. It's like the smell of the fear in the air on the market right now. You can just smell how close I am to 10,000, and it smells good.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
So hit that button for me. Let's go into it right now. So MSTY over the last few weeks has come down in share price, lost a lot of value in terms of assets under management over at Yieldmax. We're going to look at those numbers coming up here. But if you don't know much about MSTY, it follows its underlying stock, which is Mr. MSTR. Its company name is Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy. Let's break down what MicroStrategy is in just a tiny, tiny little nutshell, because it's a little bit bigger than this nutshell right here. But MicroStrategy essentially is a Bitcoin buying company. They're a technology company that converts debt to buy Bitcoin, because in the grand scheme of things, they believe Bitcoin is the be-all, end-all. And I'm getting on the same page as them with this one over here myself. I don't know about you guys, but I feel it. I feel it as well. Now, this is not financial advice. This is entertainment. If you're entertained, hit the like button. Thank you so much for doing that. But don't take any of this as advice for something you should do. You should research what you buy before you do anything here. And this should not be one of those things that you use as research, but maybe it could be a starting off point. So here's Strategy's current share price, $330, down 1.65% today. Over the last month, though, it's down 16% in share price. Now, we did expect MSTR to go down today. On Friday, the rumors were that it was going to be one of the companies that was going to be put into the S&P 500, was going to be selected, hand-selected by the crew that selects things by hand, but it didn't happen. So we expected today for MSTR to go down in share price, but it's only down 1.57% at this point. It's pretty impressive. Let's take a look at MSTY itself today. We'll refresh our screen, down just 0.77%. So not the same, not down as much as MSTR is, right? And this is MSTY. But the downswing of MSTR has been pretty well documented. It's down 19% in the last month, right? That's a lot of money that it's down $3.65 in share price. A lot of people bought in at all-time highs. They bought the hype. They said this thing's going to the moon, and they bought it, but you know, it did come down from those all-time highs. So over its time on the market here, has had many peaks, many valleys, and you can see its overall trend is going down here in share price. And so let's be real about it, right? As the income is produced to us in distribution, the share price has come down. It trades on the volatility of MSTR, and you know, it's going down. So what's happened, right? Why is it going down so much? Well, a lot of volatility over at MSTR here in the last 5 years, in the last year specifically. It is up 164%, but if we go from November, which was a big moment in a lot of people's purchasing a lot this past November, so not even a year ago, to now, it's down 30% in share price. And so the same thing over at MSTY here in November of last year, right around there, to now down 56% share price. What'd you get, though? You got income every single month in form of a distribution. Here are all of the distributions right here that have been paid out by MSTY at Yieldmax since its inception. Its first payment was way back in April of 2024. So it's definitely paid back its investors quite a bit. One of the things that we've tracked over time is its assets under management. This means the amount of money that is invested in Misty, and for a very long period, this was over $5 billion. But in the last month, you guys saw it. It's down in share value. A lot of people selling out in fear that Mister is not going to be as volatile as it used to be. And it's true. It has not been as volatile as it used to be. This thing was down around the 50% mark for a month or two. But take a look. Right now, I have it highlighted, bottom left-hand corner. The implied volatility is climbing. It's up to 73%. What does that mean for me as a shareholder of Misty? Man, I'm getting crazy over here, everybody. It, it means that I could potentially get some bigger distributions coming my way. And that's why I'm invested in Misty. I'm invested in Misty because I want to get paid a premium, a dollar amount of money every single 4-week period. Implied volatility as it goes up means that I'm going to start getting paid more money potentially in my distribution. So I'm pretty happy about that. So again, let's do a recap of our first three screens. Mister over the last month here down 16%. Misty over the last month down 19%, but you did get two distributions in that same period of time, right? What totaling like $2 and what 16 cents, something like that. I could be off around $2 in those two payments. All right, next thing I want to look at is this page right here. This is dividendchannel.com. Now, I've got tons of comments in my previous Misty video. Since I came in, I'm down this. Since I came in, I'm down this. Since I came in, I'm up this. So it does, you could pick a date and you would be down or up considering the date. So what I did was I just picked one date, and that was this last month here. That's all I've picked. Let's get that open up here. I'll bring it up top here. And what I did is I said, the last year is what I picked. What I did was, if I invested $10,000 into Misty a year ago today, how much money would I have if I dripped or if I didn't drip? So the top number up here is if I dripped. I'll bring this down so you can see it a little better for yourselves there. Can I zoom in? Oh, I can. That's nice. So if a year ago I put 10 grand into this fund, I would now have $20,889. I would have doubled my money. Even though the share price over the last month, 2 months, 3 months has come down, I'm still at in total brought in money here, money in my pocket of $20,889, right? So if I sold now after a year, I'd have 20 grand instead of 10 grand. Down below is if we didn't drip, and you can see it's like basically the same number here, right? $20,308. Now, for you, you can open this chart, do anything you want. You can do anything you want, and you can come down, put the date that you started investing right here, and then you can. Well, I'll show you how I did it. Go up top, type in Misty up here, hit enter, go down, and then input the date that you started investing in this thing, and chart it with $10,000 to see where it would have been at right now. Okay. Now, I bet you if you invested in November, some of those other all time high moments there, let's go take a look again at this. Back here, November of 2024, June of this year, as an example, look at these highs right here. You would be down right now for sure. Yeah, it could happen. So when you buy high and the ETF price goes down, it's not going to look good for you. But when you buy low, not saying this is going to be the low, but when you buy lower and you give it time to pay you your distributions, then you eventually may be up. And so I'm talking about myself right now. I want to just share my sheet with you here. I've shared this with you many, many times before. So here's my total investment in 14 months, $9,767. That bought me 407 shares, and my average cost on those shares are $23.99. The current price is right around $15.40, and my current market value, it's down like $3,400, give or take a couple bucks there in overall value of those shares. Now, I have so far received $4,835 in distributions. A lot of that went back into the fund over the last 14 months, but over the last 2 months, I've no longer added any more money to this fund, and I'm taking it and I'm investing it in other things out there. Things that I have good conviction of, things that I think are going to do well long term. But what the point is that I'm trying to make here is that this continues to pay me income every single 4 weeks. I get a little check in the form of my account. Nobody sends me a check. Wouldn't that be nice? No, no, it wouldn't be nice. But I get money every single 4 week period here because I own 407 shares of this. And then it just accumulates in my account. I go out and buy whatever I want. Long term, what I think I want to start doing with that money, once I've gotten the things that I want to where they want to go, is I might start buying some blue chip stocks or maybe even Bitcoin with that. I'm undecided. So down below, I actually have recorded the amount of total distribution Misty has paid so far to its investors from day number 1. Now I know you, the one who's commenting down here, that's Misty's trash. You're not one of those people, right? You got in November, you got in June at highs. Understandable. I can see why you would say that. But for the people that got in 2 years ago, you're already at 41.89. You've doubled your money twice. Congratulations. For me, I'm not there yet. I'm at 49% of my money returned to me so far. Within the next year, even maybe 2 years, is when I should be at 100% recapture of my investment into Misty. We'll see how long it takes here. So that's that. And then, next thing I want to go over here is I've got a couple really cool things for you to see here. Bitcoin itself, right? $112,000. Every single 2 week period, I buy a little bit of Bitcoin. This is going to be my long-term wallet. What about you guys? Are you buying Bitcoin? I'm not even looking at anything else. Ethereum, out. Not looking at it. Solana, nope. Doge, it's so tempting. But no, I'm not looking at anything other than Bitcoin. That gamble in me has a little bit of Doge in my mind here, but I'm not doing it. So I've got a couple things I want you to look at today. One last thing about the personal stuff here. Here's the Mr. This is my dividend tracker on passive. This is my total distributions from Misty. This is Canadian, and this is post-tax. Everything I showed you was post-tax. Up here, I got to pay a 15% withholding tax on any distribution that is paid to me in American dollars. So this is post-tax, $6,680 Canadian. I just did the conversion. There it is right there. I just did the conversion. It equals 48.35 US. So I love that tracker for showing me that. I want to show you guys a couple things that happened today. Mr. Michael Saylor from Strategy himself has acquired 1,955 Bitcoin for $217 million at an average of $111,196 per Bitcoin. They've achieved Bitcoin yield of 25% year to date in 2025 as of September 7th. So yesterday we hodled 638,460 Bitcoin. Holy smokes, that's incredible. So what I would like to do is end this video off with a video of Michael Saylor today or yesterday talking about this purchase. Enjoy, and then we'll finish the video at the end.
Most of the equity analysts that follow our stock have target prices for Bitcoin, and they're all north of 150. Bitcoin represents a digital transformation of the capital markets, and so the more people know about it, the more they get educated on it, the more companies embrace it, the higher it goes. You can't make any more of it.
Right. That may be all, but in terms of just what you're seeing in terms of flows and whatnot, that would get it to $200,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, great flows from the ETFs. BlackRock is showing record numbers. Our companies raised $19 billion this year.
Right.
All of it went into Bitcoin. We just announced $217 million of Bitcoin purchases this morning before I walked onto this set here.
Wait, 217 million this morning?
217 million, just slightly less than 2,000 Bitcoin. Our first buy, and we were the first public company to buy Bitcoin, we bought $250 million of Bitcoin, and that was like all the money we'd come up with in 30 years.
Yeah.
And this was just a short week, 4 days.
Okay, so can I ask you this? For those folks who are investing in MicroStrategy, or strategy, I should say, as opposed to Bitcoin, you are effectively a levered bet on Bitcoin. That's what this company has become.
That's
Fair?
correct.
Okay, so the question is, on the way up, it would be it's fabulous, right? Because everything becomes, multiplied.
True.
What happens on the way down, if there is a down?
Well, a lot of investors, they have to buy equity, and so we offer Bitcoin-backed equity, or they need to buy credit, and so we have 4 Bitcoin-backed credit instruments, preferred stocks. So the ones that are risk-averse, that want the exposure, are buying the credit, like Strike, which has got the upside with some downside protection. The ones that are buying the equity want 2x Bitcoin. They want more volatility, they want more performance, and they see it as a more efficient way to get that exposure. Turns out that 99% of the money in the world is mandated to equity and credit. Most of these professional investors and most of these passive funds, they can't buy the underlying commodity even if they wanted to.
Right, but just to understand it, if in fact, even if there was a crypto winter, and we'll call it a winter because that suggests there's still a potential summer again, at what numbers and levels does it become complicated at which you start to have to sell things?
You know, we constructed a pretty bulletproof balance sheet. I would say we have a PhD in leverage by now because we lived through the last crypto winter. We went from 6,000 to 16,000. We were buying Bitcoin at 16,000. We used to use senior debt, and we had some margin type loans. We rolled out of that to converts, and this year we really have started to reallocate to preferreds. And preferreds are the best kind of leverage because they never come due. So I think we're fine right now because substantially our leverage comes from preferred stocks rather than from debt at all.
You mentioned that you bought $250 million this morning, or 217 million this morning as you walked in. What's your dollar cost average for what you've paid for Bitcoin?
About $73,000 a coin.
And I guess, I wonder if you think Standard & Poor's or others, or, you know, if anybody has any sort of bias towards crypto still at this point, because the S&P 500 just came out with their decisions, and they chose to go with Robinhood and AppLovin over Strategy. And a lot of people were kind of surprised by that. The stock actually was down a little bit. Do you think that there is a bias at any of the indexes or any places that come through this against a company with a lot of Bitcoin in holdings?
I don't think there's a bias. I don't think we expected to be selected on our first quarter of eligibility. We figure it'll happen at some time. There's a digital transformation in the markets. This is a brand new, novel concept. Every quarter, we make new believers. We get more support from banks, from politicians, from credit rating agencies, et cetera. I think that will continue for the foreseeable future.
Can we just go back to the preferred piece for just a moment? Just because I think people want to understand, what a leveraged bet this is. But you're suggesting that because it's preferred, it never comes due. How can it be that they never come due?
If you were using margin debt, you'd never want to go beyond 10% leverage. If you were using bonds, maybe 20, 25% is about the most you would want to do. But if you're selling a perpetual instrument, I borrow $1 billion forever, and I agree to pay you, say, 10% dividend yield forever. The principal's never coming due. Right? And the preferred stock, by definition, is a dividend. It's not a coupon. The board has to have the option to suspend it in duress. So it's, practically speaking, possible to take your leverage beyond 20% to 30 or 40% even, but you don't have the kind of credit risk you have when you have a bond or a margin.
Let me ask you a different question. There's a whole bunch of companies now, these sort of treasury companies that are emerging, SPACs and other things, that are trying to look a little bit like what you're doing, right?
We've had 180 companies that have adopted Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We were the first. So there's an explosion in the past 6 months.
Right, but I'm curious about some of these levered efforts that may be using actual debt, not preferred the way you are, and how you think about them in the marketplace.
Most companies are buying Bitcoin instead of holding sovereign debt, or they're buying Bitcoin instead of dividending out their cash flows, or instead of buying back their stock, they're just buying Bitcoin. And so they're actually increasing their capital base. They're decreasing the credit risk in the company. There are a few companies that are going to issue Bitcoin-backed credit. They may do it with bonds, they may do it with converts, they may do it with preferreds. We're the first company to create liquid preferred stocks that represent Bitcoin-backed credit. Companies like Metaplanet will probably issue preferred stocks. They'll do it in Japan, in a yen basis. Most other companies are just going to creep into this by building up their capital base, and they're not going to get into the business of issuing credit instruments backed by Bitcoin.
How much leverage do you have?
We have about, let's see, 11% of our Bitcoin holdings are bonds, so convertible bonds, and like another 9% are preferreds. Okay. So not that much. I mean, really, we have $72 billion of Bitcoin. We have $8 billion of convertible bonds that will eventually equitize. More than half of them are already in the money.
Michael Saylor, I want to thank you. Appreciate it. You got that.
All right. right. So what do you guys think? What is your prediction? What is your prediction for Bitcoin's price to be at the end of this year? I'm still buy all the time, right? So for me, it doesn't really matter what the price is because I'm going to be buying for the next few years here. But I don't know. What do you guys think the price of Bitcoin is? And because you are predicting what Bitcoin is, what do you think that's going to do for Mr.? What do you think that's going to do for the implied volatility, which helps us with the MSTY distributions? My name is Mike. This channel's Health and Wealth. You're awesome. Thanks for subscribing and liking this video. I hope you have a great night. Bye for now.